What's up, everybody? It's Greg from Sleepers Media. The NCAA tournament is here. It's the highlight of the season for every college basketball fan all over the world. And I'm going to go through every single game, and I'm going to make a pick, a betting pick in every game of the first round of the NCAA tournament. You know I'm a gambler. This is like my Super Bowl. It's my time to shine. And I've got some awesome stuff for you, courtesy of our partners at Dimers as well. First of all, we've got our Dimers Bracket Challenge. There's a link to that you can sign up for free with a chance to win $1,000. Link to that will be in the bio of this video. The link you need to go to is dimers.com/sleepers-bracket. And then you just follow the steps, enter your email. You'll get all the directions on how to join the bracket group. You can win $1,000. Easy peasy, give it a shot. Number two, dimers.com/sleepers has exclusive deposit matches, offers, free bets, and more. Go to dimers.com/sleepers to figure out what you can take advantage of and win some money. All right, we're going to go game by game through the first round. I'm going to try to keep this pretty short. I did my research. I feel good about all of these plays. Let's lock in. Here we go. Starting with the play-in games, the first one. We're taking Indiana -4 against Wyoming. Indiana this season is on a tear to end the regular season. In the conference tournament, wins over Michigan and Illinois. Then they took a red-hot Iowa team to the wire. It took a Jordan Bohannon buzzer beater to beat the Hoosiers. Evan Miyakawa, evanmia.com, has Indiana by 7 this game. I trust his metrics like I trust my own mother. Wyoming, only 1-5 on the season against top 40 teams. Their one win was an overtime win against Oklahoma State. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games away from home. Their strongest strength is 2-point offense, but Iowa's defense, 7th in the country against 2-point shots. I think the Hoosiers will be too tough inside. Trace Jackson Davis will get it done. I'm on the Hoosiers, -4. Texas Southern, -3.5 against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. In the other play-in game, Texas Southern, the 107th best defense in the country, 188th overall team on KenPom. They played a ton of good teams this season. 5 top 100 opponents in the non-conference, including a win against the Florida Gators by 15. That's a really good win. A&M Corpus Christi only played 2 top 100 teams all season long. They lost to Texas A&M by 21 points. They lost to Notre Dame by 10. They haven't really kept it close against decent teams. They lost 5 straight games in January and February to teams that are in the 200s on KenPom. 3.5 is not enough points. I think Texas Southern's better, more well-tested, and gets it done against Corpus Christi. Bryant +3.5 against Wright State. Bryant is 16-1 in their last 17 games since January 7th. They have the nation's leading scorer. That's Peter Kiss. Sometimes the selection committee does things that are a little too cute, a little too special, a little too fun not to happen. That's this. They want Bryant against Arizona, Peter Kiss against Kirk Risa, the 2 biggest shit talkers in the country, and I think they're going to get it done. Wright State plays a really fast tempo, top 100 in tempo. They only have the 262nd best defense in the country. Fast tempo plus horrible defense. I think that means Peter Kiss gets the ball, a lot of possessions, and I think he scores. Give me Bryant +3.5. Rutgers +1 against Notre Dame. Give me the team in this game with the NCAA tournament experience. That's Rutgers. Notre Dame doesn't have a player on the roster who's gone to the NCAA tournament in their career that's played for Notre Dame for all 4 years. Rutgers, solid team. Geo Baker, Ron Harper, they're 8-6 against top 50 opponents this year. Flip it, Notre Dame's only 2-8 against top 50 opponents. Both teams play a slow tempo. Give me the team that I think has a few more bucket getters. I know that Notre Dame has Blake Wesley. He's a killer. But I like Ron Harper. I like Geo Baker. I like Paul Mulcahy. I like Amaruyi inside for Rutgers. I think they're the more balanced team, the more talented team. +1, we'll take the Scarlet Knights. Michigan -2.5 against Colorado State. Michigan has gone win-loss, 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 win-loss ever since February 10th. They're coming off a loss. You know what that means. They follow it with a win. Colorado State doesn't have a very intimidating presence inside. Their defense in the 2-point percentage category, only 210th. They don't play anybody taller than 6'8". They double the post constantly. I think if Hunter Dickinson wants to feast in this game, he can. And even if they send really aggressive doubles, That's not exactly the best formula to stop Michigan. Most teams want to make Hunter Dickinson eat against them and limit the other guys. Could be wide open shots for their shooters, Eli Brooks, Caleb Houston. We'll see what happens. Also, Colorado State's primary guards are both 6 foot or smaller. The recipe to beat Michigan in the backcourt is to have guys who can hit shots over Devontae Jones and Eli Brooks. Those guys are good defenders when they're not giving up big inches to the other team. I think Michigan is the more talented team. They're due for a win. If you follow the pattern, -2.5. Providence -2 against South Dakota State. South Dakota State played only 2 top 75 teams all season long. They lost by 16 to Alabama. They lost by 12 to Murray State. They lost by 11 to Washington. They lost to Idaho by 14. Idaho's 323rd on KenPom. I get that South Dakota State's offense is good. It seems like everybody's picking this team. I know that the metrics are down on Providence, but come on. This isn't like a world-beating South Dakota State team. Their best win this season is a home win against Bradley. Providence is 17-0 against teams outside the top 50 on KenPom defense this year. They have the 31st best offense. They're going to score against a South Dakota State defense that puts up very little resistance. Jared Bynum, Al Durham, Noah Horkler, Nate Watson. All those guys are going to get open looks in this game, and they are talented enough to get it done. It's honestly disrespectful to the Friars. Give me Ed Cooley's team -2. Boise State +2.5 against Memphis. Everybody wants Memphis Gonzaga. Again, the committee did something a little creative here, but I think Boise's up for the challenge. Since December 1st, they only have 3 losses, 2 of those to Colorado State and 1 to Wyoming, both NCAA tournament teams. They have 13 top 100 wins on the season. Memphis, 5-3 against top 100 teams since January 1st. Houston took their soul in the AAC title. Boise plays the 307th fastest tempo in the country. They're going to slow Memphis down. And ultimately, Penny Hardaway is coaching this game. I'm not trusting Penny Hardaway in March. Come on. KenPom likes Boise by 1, +2.5. Big discrepancy there. Give me the Broncos. Norfolk State +20.5 against Baylor. Baylor injured. Everybody knows this. Jonathan Chamwa-Chachua, LJ Cryer. They haven't won a game by more than 10 points in a month. This is simply a bet that Baylor is not at their best right now. They lost to Oklahoma by 5 in the first round of the Big 12 tournament. Norfolk State has the 12th best three-point percentage defense in the country. I think that's enough to make sure Baylor doesn't totally run away with this. A team with only 6 losses on the season in 30 games in Norfolk State. I'm going to bet that they can keep it close and under 20 points. Longwood +17.5 against Tennessee. Longwood is 19-1 since January 1st. They've only lost 1 game by more than 17 points all year. That was against Iowa, who's playing the best basketball of any team in the country right now. They play the 235th fastest tempo, pretty slow. Tennessee is not exactly the fastest team either. Rick Barnes in the tournament, that's who we're talking about here. Let's look at his past few tournament appearances. Tennessee lost as the favorite against Oregon State in the 5-12 matchup in the first round last year by 14 points. Going back to the tournament before that, they only beat Colgate by 7 in the first round. They needed overtime to get by Iowa in the round of 32, and then they lost to Purdue in the Sweet 16. It's not like they're blowing teams out in the NCAA tournament. 17.5 is a ton of points. Give me Longwood. Iowa -10.5 against Richmond. Iowa is playing the best basketball of any team in the country right now. They're the 2nd best team on Bart Torvik since February 1st. The only team ahead of them is Gonzaga. Richmond, 82nd on KenPom. They're only 4-9 this year against top 85 opponents. They have the 104th best defense in the country. Good luck hanging with the Iowa Hawkeyes and Keegan Murray with a defense below 100 on KenPom. Give me the Hawkeyes in a blowout. Gonzaga -23.5 against Georgia State. Gonzaga has the best offense in the country, the 7th best defense in the country. You're looking for teams that have a top 10 offense and defense to win a national title. In 14 games against non-top 100 opponents this year, Gonzaga covered 23.5 points in 12 of those 14. Georgia State lost by 16 points to Richmond, lost by 35 to Rhode Island, lost by 29 to Mississippi State. They're prone for blowouts against teams that are more talented than them. The Zags are the most talented team in the country. We'll take them to cover. North Carolina -3 against Marquette. Both these teams have top 40 tempos, both top 75 in offense and defense. I think this is going to be a very close, similar style game, but Marquette finished the season 4-6 in their last 10 games, while North Carolina finished 12-3 in their last 15. I think the Tar Heels are more talented. Armando Bacot should get whatever he wants in this game. Marquette gives up a ton of offensive boards. They're only 306th on the defensive glass in the country. I'm going to take the Tar Heels and think that the talent wins out and allows them to cover -3. New Mexico State +7 against UConn. New Mexico State lost only 2 games all season by 10 or more points. They beat Davidson by 11. They beat Grand Canyon, who's in the top 100 on KenPom, 3 times. Both these teams are in the 200s on KenPom in tempo. New Mexico State, the 22nd best 3-point percentage defense in the country. They're not going to allow RJ Cole and the UConn guards to get going from deep. UConn only has 1 win against a top 100 team in the country by more than 10 points in 20 attempts this season. 7 points is a lot of points. I'll take New Mexico State +7. Kentucky -18 against St. Peter's. Kentucky is 12-0 against non-top 100 teams, all by 10 or more points this season. 9 of those 12 wins were by 18 or more points. St. Peter's is just an average defensive rebounding team. Oscar Tshiebwe is going to get whatever he wants. He could go for 20 and 20 in this game. St. Peter's is horrible offensively. They're 0-5 against top 100 teams this year. They only played 1 team in the top 50. That was Providence, and they lost by 14. I think Kentucky's going to run through this tournament, and that's going to start against St. Peter's in a blowout. Kentucky -18. Creighton against San Diego State. We're going to take the under 120. I love this matchup. You could not set the line low enough for me not to take the under. Creighton, the 18th best defense in the country, only the 124th offense. San Diego State, the 2nd best defense in the country, the 157th best offense. Both teams pretty slow. San Diego State, the 268th fastest tempo. Creighton, 190th in tempo. Creighton's last game, they lost to Villanova 54-48. San Diego State's last game, they lost 53-52 to Boise State. In San Diego State's games this year, in 22 of 31 games, a team has scored in the 50s. This game screams the under. It's going to be a rock fight. Take the under 120. Vermont +5 against Arkansas. KenPom has Arkansas by 4. Evan Miyakawa has Vermont favored by half a point in this game. Vermont is 22-1 in their last 23 games. Arkansas only 3-5 against teams between 30 and 65 on KenPom. Vermont falls right in that sphere of teams Arkansas has struggled with. Vermont plays very slow, the 288th fastest tempo in the country. Arkansas is fast, they're 28th in tempo. The stylistic differences, I think, could frustrate the Razorbacks a little bit. Arkansas is only 313th in the country in 3-point percentage shooting. Vermont's 38th. I love teams that shoot in March. All of this adds up to a game that Vermont can really get Arkansas uncomfortable. I'm going to take Vermont +5. Murray State on the money line against San Francisco. This is a great matchup. I'm mad at the committee for doing this. Tevin Brown against Jamari Boye, 2 of the best mid-majors in the country. Murray State's top 40 on both offense and defense. San Francisco's 0-6 against top 30 teams this year. Losses to Loyola Chicago on a neutral floor, St. Mary's 2 times, and Gonzaga 3 times. They just haven't passed the test in their biggest games of the year. Murray State has. They found a way to win over and over and over again. I'm going to take the Racers on the money line, who I think is the best mid-major in the country. UCLA -13.5 against Akron. UCLA's 14-0 this year against teams outside the top 100 on KenPom. 10 of those 14 games, they won by 13 or more points. Akron's only the 166th best defense in the country, and they limit assists really well, but UCLA's comfortable with that. They take a bunch of tough jumpers. They make a bunch of tough jumpers. Akron plays very slow. UCLA is comfortable with a slow pace. I just don't see any way UCLA doesn't run away with this game. They shine in March when the lights are bright. Give me the Bruins. Loyola Chicago money line against Ohio State. Loyola has 6 super seniors, 4 of whom came back to play for Drew Valentine, 2 who transferred in. They're 5-2 this year on a neutral floor. Their 2 losses were to Michigan State and Auburn in the battle for Atlantis. They had a win over San Francisco. They just dominated the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. Both teams play a slow pace. Ohio State's defense is just 131st in the country. They lost 4 of 5 to end the season. Chris Holtman teams have fizzled out pretty much every year of his career at Ohio State right now. I think Loyola is the better team. I think it's a great matchup for them to get comfortable in. Take the Ramblers on the money line. Auburn -15.5 against Jacksonville State. Auburn is 6-0 against teams that are ranked 130th or higher on KenPom, and all 6 of those games were blowout wins. They have the 4th best 2-point percentage defense in the country. Jacksonville State 0-3 against top 100 teams. They have double-digit losses this year to Central Arkansas, North Florida, VCU, South Alabama. They're not even playing their best ball. They lost in their conference tournament to Jacksonville by 3. They only made this tournament because Bellarmine won the conference tournament, and they aren't eligible to make the NCAA tournament. There's Not enough to like about Jacksonville State. Auburn's too talented. I think they blow them out. Montana State plus 15 against Texas Tech. Montana State, 6 of their 7 losses this year have come by 10 points or less. They took Colorado to overtime at Colorado earlier this season. They're 18-2 since January 1st, and their 2 losses were by a combined 8 points. Texas Tech, 26 games against top 200 opponents this year on KenPom. 22 of those 26 games, they didn't cover 15 points. 13 of 17 wins didn't cover 15 points. Montana State is getting a lot of points here. I don't know if they're going to win the game. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think they're stingy enough to cover. Take them. Purdue minus 16 against Yale. Purdue's 11-0 this year against non-top 100 opponents, all 11 wins by double digits. If you're going to hang with Purdue, you have to keep up offensively, and Yale just doesn't have a good enough offense. They're only 203rd offensively on KenPom. They're 0-5 this season against top 100 teams. They lost by 27 points to St. Mary's, 22 points to Auburn, 36 points to Seton Hall. And if that's not enough for you, Yale has the 233rd two-point percentage defense. Zach Edey is going to feast inside, take the Boilermakers in a blowout. Villanova minus 15.5 against Delaware. Villanova is 11-0 this season against non-top 100 opponents. 9 of those 11 wins came by 15 points or more. Delaware played only one top 75 opponent all season long. They lost by 21 to Davidson. If you got blown out by Davidson, you're probably going to get blown out by a more talented Villanova team who's as tough offensively. Delaware only has the 212th best defense in the country. They give up a lot of threes. Villanova shoots a ton of threes, 23rd most in the country. I think it's a good matchup for the way Villanova wants to play. Take them in a blowout. USC minus 1.5 against Miami. Evan Miyakawa has USC minus 3.5. That's a little bit of a discrepancy here. USC's 20 spots higher on KenPom than Miami. USC is 25-3 this season against teams that are not Arizona or UCLA. Miami has a great offense, but a really bad defense, only 157th on KenPom. USC's more balanced. They're in the 40s on both. Miami's only 2-5 this season against top 100 teams since February 1st. I like the Trojans. I think they're the better team. I think they're playing better right now. Take them minus 1.5. Virginia Tech plus 1 against Texas. Virginia Tech is hot. They won 4 straight games to win the ACC tournament. They're 12-2 since the start of February. They're 7-2 in that span against top 100 opponents. They have the 3rd best three-point shooting percentage as a team in the country. I love teams that can shoot in March. Texas not playing well right now. They lost 3 straight to end the season. They're 2-6 against top 25 opponents this year. I think Aluma's going to be the best player in the front court. Texas doesn't have the answers inside, and everybody on the floor is going to be able to shoot for the Hokies. Give me the Hokies plus 1. Chattanooga plus 7.5 against Illinois. Chattanooga plays a really slow pace, 302nd in the country. They have the 36th best three-point percentage defense. Silvio De Sousa's big enough to not let Kofi Coburn push him around. They're 4-2 in games against the top 100 on KenPom this year, and they never lost by more than 11 points. They can keep it close. Illinois, the thing I'm going to watch, how involved is Andre Curbelo? In the Big Ten tournament, they force-fed him the ball. They're only 1-5 in games where Andre Curbelo plays more than 20 minutes this season. They're 12-1 in games where he doesn't play entirely. I think Illinois, coming off a bad loss in the Big Ten tournament, not going to be prepared to blow a Chattanooga team out. KenPom only has Illinois by 5. We'll take Chattanooga plus 7.5. Duke minus 18.5 against Cal State Fullerton. Cal State Fullerton has a losing record. They're 6-7 against top 200 teams on KenPom this season. They're 0-3 against the top 100. They only played one very good team all year. That was San Diego State, and they lost by double digits. They have a horrible three-point percentage defense, 330th in the country. Duke's 33rd best three-point percentage offense in the country. They're 14-1 against non-top 100 opponents. There's just not a lot here for me to think Cal State Fullerton can hang. Duke going to bounce back off of the loss to Virginia Tech in the ACC tournament and start things off with a bang in the NCAAs. LSU minus 4 against Iowa State. Iowa State finished the year 0-3, scoring 36 points and 41 points in 2 of those 3 losses. Yikes. LSU has the 5th best defense in the country, and guess what? It's not Will Wade's scheme. In Will Wade's career at LSU, he never had a top 50 defense before this season. It's Tari Eason and the personnel on this defense. Losing Will Wade is not going to change how good the Tigers are defensively. Iowa State turns the ball over a ton. They're 300th in the country in turnover rate. LSU forces the second most turnovers in the country. It's a hell of a matchup for LSU, who might be hungry to prove that they can do this without Will Wade. Take the Tigers -4. UAB +8.5 against Houston. UAB is 46th on KenPom. They're no slouch as a 12 seed. 28th best offense in the country. They've won 7 straight games. They play very fast, which is a contrast from Houston and could frustrate them a little bit. And they're the 9th best 3-point percentage shooting team in the country. Houston's only 2-4 against top 50 opponents this year. They only have one quad 1 win, and it came the final game of the regular season against Memphis on a neutral floor. I think UAB getting 8.5 is just a few too many points in a game that should be a true toss-up. Give me the Blazers +8.5. Davidson +1.5. Everybody can shoot on this Davidson team. All of their top 6 players shoot 38% from 3 or better on a lot of attempts. This is the Foster Loyer revenge game, but it's not just about Foster Loyer. Davidson doesn't turn the ball over. They're 15th in the country in preventing turnovers. MSU is 329th in turning the ball over. They flip it all the time. Davidson's great at preventing offensive rebounds. There's just a lot to like in this matchup for Davidson against a Michigan State team who might not have Tyson Walker, who can't keep Marcus Bingham on the floor, and who is only 3-7 against top 75 opponents since February 1st. I think it's a nightmare matchup for the Spartans. Take Davidson +1.5. Colgate +7.5 against Wisconsin. Colgate won 15 straight games to end the season. They're only 1-2 against top 100 teams this year, but they beat Syracuse by 15 points because they shot the lights out. This Colgate team is the second best 3-point shooting team in the entire country, and Wisconsin's only okay at guarding the 3. They're 97th in 3-point percentage defense. Wisconsin's 8-1 this year against non-top 100 opponents. But if you look closer at that, 6 of those 8 wins came by single digits, and 6 straight in that series were by single digits. Is Johnny Davis healthy? I don't really know. He didn't look the part of the Big Ten tournament. If he's not, this could get interesting. Give me Colgate +7.5. Seton Hall Pick'em against TCU. These two teams are pretty similar stylistically. Great defense, only okay offense. Both KenPom and Evan Miyakawa lean that Seton Hall wins this game. TCU has the second best offensive rebounding rate in the country. Seton Hall does give up some offensive rebounds, but they're physical inside, and I don't think they're going to lose this game just off of putbacks. What can lose this game is TCU's 3-point shooting percentage, only 320th in the country, and their turnover rate. They're 336th in turnovers. They flip it a lot. These teams have similar makeups, but Jared Rhoden, to me, is the best player on the floor. He's due for a big March moment. And Seton Hall ended the season 9-3 in their last 12, while TCU ended the season 4-7 in their final 11. Give me the Pirates to win the game. And there you have it, folks. Those are my best bets for every single game of the first round of the NCAA tournament. My name is Greg Waddell. Please subscribe to the Sleepers Media channel. Click that like button. Let me know that you like this video. I'll be traveling with the Field of 68 for the first weekend, so follow the Field of 68 on Twitter so you can see everything that we're working on. Follow me at GWizzy12 and follow Sleepers Media at Sleepers Media. Join our bracket contest. The link is in the bio. And as always, we are presented by Dimers, dimers.com/sleepers, where you can get exclusive free bets, deposit matches, and more. Thank you for watching.